The fight for clean water is not just a battle in Flint, Michigan, but indeed around the world. The new children's book, Touch the Earth, seeks to bring back a love for the planet and for reading books together instead of getting lost in our screens. The author is musician Julian Lennon, the eldest son, of course, of John Lennon. Touch the Earth is part of the work he's been doing with his White Feather Foundation. Julian, good to have you on this program, sir.
Thank you very much, Tavis.
Tell me about the foundation, first of all.
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but it initially arose from a meeting I had that came out of the blue while I was touring in Australia. And I was in Adelaide, and I got a phone call from the hotel saying, "Excuse me, Mr. Lennon, there's a group of about 30 to 50 people down in the lobby of the hotel with an Aboriginal tribe and a couple of camera crews." I said, "You're joking, right?" He said, No. Well, we're being very serious. Could you come and take care of this?" And I'm going, what am I going to take care of? So I go down and as I walk into the lobby area, they're in a sort of semicircle with the indigenous tribe called the Murning in the middle, and this woman, elder, who was the elder, the tribe's elder, one of the tribe's elder, woman walks up to me with both hands and presents me with a white feather, which is a male swan's white feather, which is about yay big, and said to me, Can you help us? You have a voice." And I the backstory to this is, of course, that Dad said on the rare occasion that I saw him, if something happens to me, then to let you know that I was that he would be all right, or that we would all were going to be all right, would be in the form of a white feather. So, you see white feathers on a daily basis, pretty much, but being presented like that, directly like that, from, one of the oldest indigenous tribes in the world, that was goosebumps through the roof right there. And so it really was a question of sort of, either just remaining a rock and roller or stepping up to the plate. Yeah. And I'd heard a bit about their history, their past. So I spent 10 years making a documentary about them with a few friends. And at the end of it, which is called Whale Dreamers, by the way, at the end of it, we thought, well, if this makes any money whatsoever, then I want it to go back to the tribe, to keep their culture alive and to keep them protected, because there was a lot going on. And the only way to do that at that particular point in time was to do it through a foundation. So the director and myself were throwing ideas on the table, and logically the White Feather Foundation came up. And initially it was just a vehicle purely to get any profit from the film back to the tribe. It was only years later, really, and I thought kind of that was it. All right, back to the rock and roll, get on with it. And it was only after sort of social media really came into play, and I put a website up, expressing what we were doing, that I really started getting a lot more emails, requesting for help. It was overwhelming, in fact, and I had to really think about that and what was important to me, what stood out to me, what could I take care of? What would I want to take care of if that was the position that I was in? What would I choose to go to help? And I was invited out a few years ago by a friend called Scott Harrison, who started an organization called Charity Water, who have gone on to bring clean water to, literally millions. And I was invited with him to go with him to Ethiopia on one of his trips, where we ventured all over the country to look at scenarios where there was no clean water, where they were in the process of building wells, and where they had thriving communities, which was beautiful to see. And so we did a campaign with him for a clean water well, and that really touched me. It was the first trip I'd ever been on like that. And at the same time, within the same time period, I was able to go to Kenya to see part of the Millennium Projects, what was going on there, and they were dealing with health and education, and also schools. So we spent a fair amount of time going to the health clinics, going to the schools, listening to the kids and the girls' schools especially, asking them what they need. And so Whitefeather has embarked on all of those issues, clean water, health and education, and also the protection of indigenous tribes from all over the globe.
So I'm glad you took that meeting then.
Oh yeah, yeah, you got that right.
I'm glad you went downstairs and took the meeting
oh my God,
and accepted the Whitefeather.
Absolutely.